What's good, my boy? Back in the workshop today. And today I was supposed to be going to these citywide garage sales. Apparently in my small little town, there's like 40 or 50 garage sales going on. Realistically, all across the state of Texas, apparently, they're doing this. This is like garage sale weekend or whatever, where you be wheeling and you be dealing. And I've been really wanting to get an anvil. Been really wanting to look out for some more tools because I got that tool addiction. But I made a promise to do these daily videos, to build these daily things and stay consistent and practice what I preach. So here I am, my boys. Man's word's no good, a man's no good. So don't be fooled though. I got my grandpa out on the prowl with my uncle. I said, you find an auto darkening welding helmet with a wide face in it, or a wide lens in it. You find you 100+ pound anvil, some good paint brushes, some good oil paints. You find a fucking stiletto hammer for 20 bucks. Give me a call. I'm on the way over there. But most likely, we're gonna be in here today. Yesterday, I've been doing these builds instead of really building particular commission pieces and stuff like that in the shop. I've been taking this time of kind of by choice to not have a bunch of work stacked up right now because I don't really need it. But I want to stay in practice with my building, so I've been using this time to try to build things out of really cheap materials. You make mock-ups of things I see online or ideas that I come up with myself, and use this time to practice certain techniques. And this one is a 2x4 end table that I saw on YouTube by a guy. And it seemed really cool. The concept of making a neat little piece out of three 2x4s was intriguing. And the challenge to try to make it unique and make it my own. So I'm going to try to take some sort of a distressing technique. I've got so far the top made out of 2x4s, the legs made out of 2x4s, the drawer made out of 2x4s, and a scrap piece of plywood, 1/4-inch plywood that I had laying outside in the mud. Sanded it up to the best of my ability. Again, rustic, recycled, upcycled, these people like to say nowadays. Find you a dilapidated dresser, fucking put some bare gray paint on it, or Sherman-Williams, whatever you fancy. Sell that bitch for $1,200 like these people do. Got my side panels that I need to take my plane over, knock down these like little glue spots. And this is the back panel. And the shelf, or the drawer, if you will, is pocket holed and then dadoed in with this piece of plywood. And this is, where is it? This is my front panel. So all I gotta cut here in a little bit, I gotta cut my face, and then I gotta cut these I gotta cut my shelving bracket for it to ride on, but I gotta cut some boards to make my front drawer opening. So I'm gonna cut one to go from here. It'll be about 13 inches, rip that down to 1 inch. Down below, come down about 6 inches to account for the face of the drawer. And I'll rip that one down to about 1.5 inches, still at 13 inches. And then on the back side, this will be the back plate that the drawer stops against. So that's what's on the docket in terms of that today. I found this like really cool quote this morning it was by some saint. I don't know what his name I'm trying to remember his name. It was like the saint of Assai, or something like that. If you look the quote up, you'll find the person. But it was basically like, a man who works with his hands is a laborer. A man who works with his hands and his head is a craftsman. A man who works with his hands, his head, and his heart is an artist. And I really like that quote. It was very, very thought-provoking, if you will. And it had me like questioning, like what's the difference between a craftsman and an artist? They're both creative people, but what really separates them? And I thought, and then I looked up the definition of them, and after some consideration, craftspeople were essential before the Industrial Revolution. I mean, this from the 1700s to the 1800s, and before that, throughout all of time, we relied on individuals, one another, to do our things. The blacksmith made the tools. The carpenters put the nails in and assembled the buildings that the tools were made in, and everything else in between made out of wood, so on and so on for each trade, and it was all on an individual basis. And then we've kind of lost that with the Industrial Revolution, and you see this interest spark up and pop up in people, and I feel like the Industrial Revolution kind of like created this disconnect with like making things with your hand. People associate it with like stupidity, or not stupidity, but like archaic people, where you're going to have a stifled life because your brain isn't going to be working. But from going from a painter and a making music, it's entirely an artistic endeavor. It's entirely problem solving the entire way. It's crazy how doing these multiple different mediums in terms of like making shit, you learn how they all are connected. It's all just, you get an idea and little bits, which knobs can you turn, which buttons can you press along the way to make it your own. And I guess really essentially though, the difference between a craftsman and a artist is that an artist is always going to be more focused on the aesthetics, trying to evoke emotion, trying to put his own intuitive touch on it. And a craftsman is always going to be focused around functionality, furniture, shit like that. I mean, you're building sets of cabinets. Just to go back to that quote, a laborer, I've seen this plenty time and time again in working in construction. Go bring these bundles up the ladder, bring me these tools, cut these measurements down there and throw them up to me, this, that. That's kind of a laborer. But then you get to the craftsman, like someone in their workshop or a finished carpenter building cabinets, that sort of a thing. And it's all based off of functionality, but there's more thought put into it than just like the laborious side of things. But then again, you're still not going to take some saber-tooth cut-saw shaping disc and start carving out your cabinet for a customer. No, they want a modern design. They want these streamlined things. That's how it goes. But I saw this one guy. I'm going to get to work here in a second, but I really want to touch on this. I saw this one guy that inspired me so fucking much. It's literally insane. It was just this little throwaway YouTube video from this like 75-year-old man, built his house, he's a painter, blah, 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 not important. He's given a tour of his house, and he showed an aspect of like craftsmanship and building that I'd never seen. His cabinets, and well, take that back. I saw this one time. I don't know if you're into woodworking, you see these like drawers or this dresser, and it's kind of, a lot of people build it nowadays, but it's got like a giant crack down the middle of it, and it's like the drawers and the dresser part go out, and it's got this like crack down the middle, and it's like kind of odd shaped. And I see a lot of people making that. But then in his actual house, where like he had to take the time and do the craft of building these cabinets himself, the cabinet drawer or doors were like zigzagged in like weird patterns, but with the craftsmanship where they opened up square and didn't bump and didn't rub and didn't do anything. Perfect craftsmanship, but with this artistic aesthetic twist to it. And it's like, it made me so joyous. And that really gets down to the essence of like why we create in general. When you ask yourself why we create, I saw this Jim Morrison interview a while back where Jim Morrison was asked, why does he create? And he gave this definition of, it's because we want to celebrate our existence, celebrate our life. And it's like, yeah, to some extent, yeah. That makes a lot of sense. But also, I saw this Rick Rubin thing where he dove into it a little deeper. And his explanation was like an offering to God. It's like you're trying to strive to perfection, and you're trying to present an offering to the universe, to God, quite literally. I mean, yes, there's a functional element, but whenever someone uses emotion and just evokes and tries to create a masterpiece painting, and it's not really a functionality, it's just something to hang on the wall. It is quite literally an offering to the divine. And I know that kind of maybe to some people might sound like really, really woo-woo, but it's just fascinating to me, just this thought alone. And I read about that in his book a while back, like sometime last year. And it really just opened me up to this concept that everything is process and everything is creative, no matter what. I had a hard time. I was like this angsty little artist dude where I had like a really hard time identifying carpentry and building as artistic. I was into painting and making music in my spare time as my artistic pursuit. And I had, like I said, a hard time identifying construction in a creative realm. And then I started really getting into oil painting, and it opened up my eyes. Because like oil painting on the outside, and I'm not trying to say that I'm a master at it, but on the outside, it seems so fucking magical when you don't know anything about it, any technique, any sort of color mixing theory or any of the theories behind it. And you're just in school as a kid and you see some girl in like 3rd grade draw a realistic face. It's like awestruck by talent, and you're like, you have all these conceptions of like, God damn, this person is gifted. But once you start getting in that realm and you start not tearing it apart, but you start dissecting how these things are made, everything is a learned process that you can literally learn. Now, some people are more inept to certain things than others in the beginning and will have an easier time. This board is fucking crazy bowed, bro. Look at this shit. Look at that. That's crazy. Rock the cradle, boy. But I'm only using this end. But it just... I started looking into this oil painting stuff, and the process behind it is so simple. Whenever you get on the other side of like, every time you start to draw, whenever you don't know any sort of art lessons, it's always through the mindset of trying to copy an image. When you try to copy the image, you never get it. You never get it because that's not how they did it. They didn't copy it. It's all about knowing the certain knowledge, the fundamentals of like, you're not trying to draw per se with the paint. You're trying to sculpt it out with light and shadow and color to make it 3D and bring it to the surface. I learned that through this YouTuber named Jake Don't Draw. I think that's his name. He's phenomenal when it comes to teaching this shit and simplifying it. But it's just... once I started learning and simplifying these really, what we as society we consider as complete artistic endeavors, not really, it's hard to relate them to something like this that's based off of fractions and numbers. But it's the same thing. It's just practice over time to develop your craft. But anyway, let me get back onto this. I'll check back. I'm going to cut a couple more things, and then I'll check back with y'all whenever I'm starting to assemble this shit. Oopsie daisy, didn't have the motherfucking microphone going, but we still learning out here, boys. Hopefully that kind of sucks. I wish the audio quality was peak when I was talking about such a good musician. But, oh well. I got this cool thing I found over there in the cabinet. This Bosch. It's like a pencil, bro. And you could press this button and like change it. It's useful as hell for doing pocket screws and like getting in on these angles and shit. All right, where's my glue? Where's my rag? I think because I'm doing this kind of cookie cutter build. I had this methodology whenever I was doing these, like I might show y'all later, these bird houses that I was carving and painting of like, all right, let's find a base model of something that's replicated, and then in the design and like spicing it up, we'll make it. We'll do the cookie cutter the steps, or just look at it and see how we can make it something that's not an original wood idea, and then see what you can add to it. And I guess you'd call that sampling and woodworking. But get these motherfuckers glued up. I said, son, piano man. This shit's kind of warped, so we'll see. But my goal is to do like, you know how them, the Chinese pottery, where it's got like the golden cracks, where like they had their pottery crack. And instead of just like throwing it away, they were like, what if we take this and like fill the cracks with gold? Straight, just like genius level shit. And I ain't saying my shit's like that level, but that's the intention here on this project. God damn it. I don't know why I did that. That was the stupidest shit I've done so far. But I'm trying to really show my mistakes, because I don't want to come off as like a know-it-all in these videos, because I hardly know shit, and I just put my hand in glue right there. So that demonstrates that. But I really want to encourage more people to admit to not knowing. I feel like that's really, I really enjoy whenever people are honest like that. And it's more of an interesting conversation in general. Let me bite the fuckers. Oops, wrong way. Like, the way I think about that is, think of a conversation with somebody. Say you ask somebody a question. I use way too long screws, but fuck it. I'll change it out. I'm not too far deep into this. Imagine you had a conversation with somebody, and it's like, what do you think about this TV show? And they gave you like the most generic, basic, getting paranoid about my microphones now. Imagine they gave you like the most generic, basic response that everybody else fucking gives. You're like, oh, do you like this show? Do you like The Sopranos? And they're like, The Sopranos is the best show ever made, and blah, blah, blah. And it is the best show ever made. I mean, The Wire comes close. But imagine they said that, and that's all they left it at. But what if, instead of trying to appease you, like we mostly do, we try to always give the right answers to things. What's the correct thing I could say in this situation? That's how we always think. But what if we acted, instead of out of trying to give a perception of ourselves to somebody, instead of that, what if we just went at it with a curiosity? And what's the worst that they're going to... I mean, I feel like most adults will respect that out of you, especially if you're young. If you don't try to act like a know-it-all, and you're not afraid to make mistakes, and possibly you take risks with conversation even. And I'm not detailing like being a fucking asshole here. That's not what I'm saying either. Be respectful and be polite. Like, someone asks you, what do you think of this or what of that? I probably wouldn't be like, I don't give a fuck, go fuck yourself. But if they do ask your opinion, instead of just thinking of what they want to hear from you, that's the best way to put it. I kind of rambled there for a second. Instead of being like, what would this person want me to say? Just be honest with them. And I guess that would come down to like possibly just being like, yeah, I really don't give a fuck about that, dog. What do you think? And I do this a lot. I do this with like politics, to my own detriment almost. An old person would be like, who are you voting for? What do you think about politics? And I don't give a fuck, my boy. I'll straight up tell them that. I ain't gonna be disrespectful again. But I'll just straight up tell them, I'll like, I'm just kind of detached from all of this shit. It just don't really seem like we have any control over it. And it's almost as if they respect you more because they're expecting a cookie cutter response from it's literally the thing that causes the disconnect between the young and the old is the young's always trying to show off to the old and show that they're not like stupid and naive, and they're too afraid to admit it, when in all reality, if you're young, it doesn't mean you're necessarily stupid, but with youth come fucking someone's giving me hell. With youth comes a certain degree of naivety, and it just takes a little bit of admitting. It takes a little bit of a courage to admit that, and I don't feel like enough people do that nowadays. I'm going to take this down, put it at a 6, put it on the inside of our 6-inch line. That will bring it about, this is the inside of the cabinet. Okay, let me see if this works. I'm going to dry fit it first. I might have to cut that down a little bit. Let me see. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna have to work on this baseboard though. Let's get a little glue. But I feel like, well, I mean, that's just common sense. The world would be better if more people were honest. But it is scary. Like, it's scary whenever you meet someone that you either respect or you want to make a good impression, because first impressions are everything. But my argument here is just like, you're going to make a better impression being yourself, not being afraid to, oh, what if I do this and they think I'm stupid? You know how many times I've made a fool of myself to like a boss in construction? Like, I probably have like 100 different people that think I'm a straight up retard just because I refuse to be afraid. Now, on the contrary of that, you don't want to try to red pill your elders either. Like, I feel like that's another sign of intelligence that I judge people by, is if they're like openly always engaging in like arguments with older people, trying to red pill them on their rhetoric or their beliefs, or no, this is the right thing and you don't understand. But then they also think they're like this smart person. You see it often with politics and religion. Atheist kid trying to convince Christian parents, or vice versa. I mean, it really could go the other way, but that's the one I see it most often in. And it's just like, come on, dog. What the fuck is wrong with you? If you're so smart, why would you constantly keep doing that if you realize it's getting you nowhere? I don't know. I always just thought that is a weird thing some people do. Alright. Now, oh damn. Now time to attach the sides. Well, first, put this aside. I'm getting ahead of myself here, boys. I ain't sharpened my planes and I ain't sharpened my chisels in weeks. So it's probably going to be dull as shit. But if it leaves marks, I'll just force it. And if it leaves cut marks in it, it'll be on the inside for one, and it'll just add to the rustic element of it. But I do not want I don't want someone to run their finger in there. It'd be like, what are you, a fucking lazy bitch? You just left glue along the seam? That ain't taking pride in your work. And I feel like a lot of people, they use this whole rustic design as an excuse to just make shitty stuff. But then again, at the same time, everybody's entitled to doing what they want. That shit is dull as fuck. I'm gonna do this. I got the inside, that's all I care about. It's just knocking down this inside, but I do need a chisel because this ain't getting it. But back to that whole like little artist yap thing that I was doing earlier. I just like, in terms of my making, like, I always make this joke that I heard from that Sam Hyde dude. I'm not trying to make Yoko Ono beating on pots and pans out here. I'm trying to make something with a level of like artistry to it, unique to me, something like that, my own touch on it. But I also want it to be functional. Now, I have other mediums that allow me to work that muscle, per se, of like abstract shit. Like with paintings, if I'm in a rut where in here I'm having to really do some like some things that it's like very monotonous, very tedious towards the project, almost to the point where it feels uncreative, I can go in my paint studio and get that little desire out of doing abstract shit. Alright, I'm gonna do this shit real quick and then I'll catch back up whenever I'm assembling fully. Alright, I got this down as much as I want. I gotta keep reminding myself, quit getting in this perfectionist shit. This is just a mock-up of an idea. I like, speaking of reminding yourself of shit like that, I'm like a humongous fan of these like one-liners. Some would call them quotes, but like realistically everybody's got them nowadays, so they are really more like one-liners per se. But wait a minute. I need smaller screws. But there's one is perfectionism. I'm trying to remember it. I know it was Sam Hyde that said it about perfectionism, or gave like the lesson in general about perfectionism, about how it just mainly gets in the way of things, and it's not an actually like, he pretty much details like whenever he was like this like kid that drew a lot, he would like redraw the same line 1,000 times, and you really don't get anywhere. Like I've done that with these videos so much and to such a degree where it's like, it really is like debilitating whenever you do shit like that. Detrimental for one, debilitating for two, because whenever you're in these ruts where, say you think you're bad, right? Say you think you're bad. You're not going to get better unless you get over that perfectionism and just get the fucking reps in. Like, I got a couple friends that they want to make videos and shit, but they're not able to do it strictly because of that perfectionism bug. This bitch is going to be so wonky. These boards are just so warped. It's crazy. I really came into this thing with like such a high degree of confidence. Yeah, dog. I'm going to like fucking, these boards are warped. I'm going to put it together. I'm going to sculpt that shit. I'll fucking sculpt it into place, dude. That's like what my thought was whenever I started this shit. Another thing is like making practice fun. That's like essential. Like any way you can make practice like incredibly interesting or AKA fun, it'll benefit you greatly. Like in this shop, how did I make practice fun? Well, I have to have multiple mediums. I have to be like, okay, if I'm really bored with wood, I'm not going to come in here and sharpen my fucking chisels and role play Master Craftsman. I'll go over there and I'll start welding. If I'm bored with that, vice versa, back and forth. If I'm bored with making like pocket hole furniture, whatever the fuck, I'll try to make like some super high-end shit with like mahogany. Or I'll try to, this is a project that I was doing the other day, try to hand cut dovetails with a Japanese dovetail saw. Looked like fucking Helen Keller did it, but it was fun. Same thing with drawing, painting, music. You got to make that shit fun. I go through waves, especially with like the music. Sometimes it's like I'm in this Rick Rubin mood where it's like, I just want to go in there and press fucking buttons, make SpongeBob space music. Sometimes I can like romanticize the process of learning music theory, go in there, and it's like, I'm fucking sitting there with a notepad, jotting down like Albert Einstein. Okay, that is a diminished chord. Okay, these are the Dorian modes. Detailed. Same thing with painting. Go through waves where I'm making fucking... Remember that shit in SpongeBob whenever Squidward made them paintings where it was like abstract, like a squid? I'll do some shit like that. Like yesterday, I made a painting that I wouldn't even show my mom whenever I was 5 years old. It was so bad and abstract. But then I'll go through waves where I'm like curating my knowledge and like, all right, this Kentucky course, I don't really buy courses. There's merit to it because you're paying for them to curate the knowledge and you don't have to spend your time looking for it, which is an important thing. But I'll start watching these like free YouTube courses and these techniques, and I'll get super technique focused and technical, and then I'll just have fun. Like right now, I'm in this period with the shop where I'm having fun. And the only thing that can defeat that is some little fucking pussy that has a mindset of, oh, well, it must be nice. I can't do that because I gotta work at fucking Starbucks or whatever. God damn it, come on, bitch. But that just comes down to get fucked. Seriously. I hate people like that with them like limiting ass mindsets where they're like, oh, I touched on that in my video yesterday, that whole like must be nice crowd. Just need to fucking go home, go lay down or something. Seriously. We'll do it there. Damn, I fucked my pocket holes up. Okay, this is where we learn. I put my pocket holes without thinking about it right where my slides are going. So, we don't panic. We bring the whole motherfucking contraption to the pocket hole machine, and we do it anyway. Alright, we're gonna need it right there. This fucked up, but this is just what you gotta do whenever you're a real motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? Come on. Alright. Happy accidents, boys. Happy accidents. Oh. Now that's better. Now this side. Okay. I don't know. Y'all tell me, I don't even know if many people are going to watch this, but y'all tell me if y'all like these like mistakes and like fuck ups and shit in here, if I should just edit it into like a collage of me trying to show how cool I am. All right, let's try this again. But really, I want to repeat that shit again. Like that whole like getting over the perfectionism of things is like the craziest shit. Because most people don't, especially, and this is like mainly coming from the perspective, oh, I just shot them fucking nails all the way through. Look at that shit. I'm sitting here yapping, not paying attention, having fun. But guess what? We're going to clip them off with these diagonals, and we're going to say, that's rustic nail holes, dude. The worms are in the wood, boys. That whole perfectionist shit, though, especially with like something like these videos, like it is crazy how hard I've procrastinated. I remember whenever in 2022, I mentioned whenever I was living like Travis fucking Bickle. I don't want to put the nails on this side for congruity. So, change. Whenever I was living like Travis Bickle, right, boys? I for real would watch these studio binder videos, which are basically like, it's like mock-up Quentin Tarantino, Martin Scorsese director class, where they like have this 23 video series about like what this director does on his movies, or vice versa, what this person does, these techniques, this is a match cut, these are these shots. I watched them all the way through, filled up journals, sitting there romanticizing these artists, drinking fucking, I remember, I had around 4 handles of alcohol. I had some whiskey, I had some vodka, I had a tequila one, and I had a, what's that shit called, where it's like really fucking nasty and old people drink it, and I was an alcoholic, so I drank it, brandy. I had some brandy, like some $10, $15, like, wino on the corner type shit. And I'd sit there and I'd romanticize this shit and then make these calculations, and I spent like 14 hours editing this video. I made 2 videos. I made a desensitization to violence on my channel. I recommend y'all watch that. That was when your boy was trying to copy Sneeko. And I made this video about alcohol, right? Bro, 2 videos in 4 months, and I went to a college. I tried to be Jadeon and went to a college dressed up as Andrew Tate. Got most videos I got ever up to that point, and it made me overthink and getting that perfectionism shit so hard that I didn't make another video. But before that, I was on TikTok making these movie reviews. I was like, oh son, minute movie review, blah, 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 blah. I got so many TikToks of like little spur of the moment content that I would make for like a month or 2 at a time, or my self-improvement shit on TikTok for a year at a time. And while it didn't blow me up, I mean, I'm making 3 to 5 videos a day. It didn't blow me up. It got me so comfortable behind a camera and developed the actual fucking skills I needed. It developed these like quick spur of the moment little, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything here, but it developed these little like quick spur of the moment things that I can say and I find funny. And before that, I was kind of like a sponge, like a wet sponge, not really much personality. Again, I'm gonna make them Japanese cracks. Them little, I should have angled them. If I angled them and was smart about it, it wouldn't have happened. But I'm sitting here yapping with you boys having a blast, and it didn't happen that way. So now we put these bags on. It's coming together. It's coming together, boy. Alrighty. Let's put a line of glue down that. One of these, I forget names because I'm really bad with names, but there's this one guy that always comments in my channel, and I appreciate the fuck out of you, bro. It's like, it's those one people that comment on your channels like early on and shit like that keep you motivated, not because you're doing it for them. It's because like that one outside opinion helps you realize, okay, maybe I'm not just like a fucking schizophrenic sitting here just talking. I mean, maybe I am, but it's kind of like a reassuring thing. Come on, bitch. Motherfucker. I ain't playing around today, son. Back to that, the courses and like content like that, and like, what the fuck is the point of an online course? Now, of course, some are like absolutely meaningless and contribute zero zilch to society. Fucking no-fap courses that some of these people come out with are absolutely just ridiculous. Like, who needs a no-fap course? But in general, like education and courses, don't completely knock them, boys. That is quite literally you paying for your time. Everything is time allocation. I say this so much. Everything is time allocation. Everything is, I'll repeat that over and over and over again. it's not the nofap that helps you win. I mean, you could get down the spiritual, esoteric route of like energies and chakras and I'm saving my spirit molecule in my penis or whatever the fuck these people say. But quite literally, it's just, okay, maybe it's placebo or not. If I don't play with myself and do that business, I feel more energetic. Also, I save fucking time because I'm not doing it. Like me personally, I just choose not to do it because I feel like a piece of shit whenever I do. And it also does something weird with your psyche where it starts to like make you not desire actual human interaction with women. And that is a complete negative. So there's that. But I don't know why I went straight to that example. But all of these little self-improvement things, it's all about time allocation. You go to the gym and you get in shape, you're going to be more energized and have more time on your hands. I mean, it just goes all the way around. And with the point on the courses, you pay someone like, let's say you buy a $200 painting course. There's some that are crazy, like that Evolve painting course is like $5,000. But they send you don't even got to order the materials. They send you everything, and it's step by step. And it's basically you paying for a skill. Because as long as you're consistent and you follow these things, like there are some bad, like you got a lot in the fitness and the diet space. These people like V-Shred and so on and so forth, where they're actually are kind of a negative. All right, once I put that back in, it'll fucking straighten up. Okay, so, boom. Let's test it. Boom, boy. Hell yeah, boy, that's what the fuck I'm talking about, son. That shit makes me happy as hell. Sit there, got me happy and smiling and shit. Oh. Now we attach the face to the box. But I thought, if I remember correctly, I've got to adjust this face a slight bit. Yeah. I've got to take off a little bit on it. But it's not a bad thing to pay someone to curate information. Because for me, and don't get it twisted, I ain't got no courses or nothing. I ain't trying to sell you on nothing. For me, it's literally taken me, if I think about what I've spent my last like 4 years doing, yes, I've built things, yes, I've done things, I've accomplished things, lost weight, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I've spent so many hours consuming things online, and now I'm in this state where I'm transferring into production. But it was necessary for me to consume those things because that's where I learned and I gathered like what I was interested in. But if I could pay someone to curate that shit, like say I could pay $200, which isn't shit. You getting money, you should be able to pay $200 for something if you're a fucking man in 2024. There's no excuse for that. But you paid someone $200 to discover if you like something or not, and you save so much fucking time in the process. If I could have paid $1,000 to somebody, and I would have saved those 2 years of learning the hard way on my own. If I would have paid them, and I could have been like, okay, this is what you need to know out of the movie shit that you're about to go down a fucking 8-month rabbit hole on thinking you're going to be Casey Neistat film boy. This is what you need to do in terms of fitness instead of 2 years of educating myself from powerlifter niche 2,000 subscriber channels to fucking Greg Doucette and all these other people that I'm sifting through, taking the meat and leaving the bones. Such an arduous process. You pay someone to fucking do that. That's what school's for. Yeah, the books are fucking free in a library, but you're paying the school so you don't got to read every single one of them motherfuckers and you have time in your life to do other things. Same analogy would be, if I'm a 5-year-old kid and you need to learn from other people's mistakes and not your own, of course, a lot of this shit, it's weird how this world works. It doesn't click in our brains. It really does not click in our brains for ourselves until we experience it. But there's certain common sense things that do, like this saw right here. If I was a 5-year-old kid and I came in this wood shop, my grandpa's in here working, blah, 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 he's my hero, whatever. He could tell me, and I don't know how to say, hypothetically, I don't know how the saw works. Instead of me being like, oh, wow, cool saw. Instead of that, he'd be like, hey, dog, don't touch the fucking saw. I've seen people get their hands cut off in it. be very respectful of these tools. But boom, I just learned from another man's experience and saved myself the hassle of getting my fucking hand chopped off. And it's that simple. Could you imagine, boys, if I was sitting here yapping, preaching, and all of a sudden I actually cut my fucking hand off on the saw? How fucking poetic that shit would be. It'd kind of suck, but holy, take another blade off. I don't know. Today's just been, I'm having fun with this shit today. Okay, the front of the box. Find the front of the box. This is the front of the box. Let me shoot some brad nails in this before I go any further, though. Oops, I'm shooting it wrong. Did go through. I just need to shoot them through my fucking dado joint because I kind of fucked up how I did it. Now, also, quick tip. You see how this, it's got a left and a right on it? If you're having a problem with your nails shooting out on you on a side, coming out the side, they're only going to split out left or right of this nozzle or this head. So if you jam it down, right, you jam this shit down, say I want to nail, I'm trying to nail in this channel that runs along here. If I put the gun like this, see left and right I just mentioned, it's either going to shoot out of this plywood or shoot out inside of the box. So you turn your gun, so it's going to most likely it's going to naturally bend. But it's going to bend inside of the wood and you're not going to be able to see that. So that's also a tip someone gave me. Oh, okay. Looking good, boys. Looking good. Now, square this shit up. I'm thinking I'm going to get my other screws out of here. I don't even think I'm going to fuck with trying to pre-drill holes or anything. I'm kind of getting in a hurry with this project. 1 inch. 1 inch will do it. Alrighty-o. Alright. Alright, I'm going to finish assembling this shit because it's probably getting in the boring weeds of things. But I'm going to check back with y'all whenever I start getting to the distressing process. Alright, boys. Now, I'm testing this on the underside of the table before I really commit and fuck it up. But now, let me put this magnet back over here. Now we get to really have fun with these techniques. Now I saw in this video, guy just took his jigsaw, ran it along it, back and forth, little bitty scrapes here and there. But that shit just seemed boring as fuck to me. So this might be like sacrilege to some people what I'm about to do. But just know I have the means to redefine this edge on this blade. Remember, boys, rustic just means you gotta make this shit look ugly. I'm like fucking Gordon Ramsay, boy, put you a fucking pork chop down there. Ooh, boy, know that little trick with them knuckles? Pop, 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 pop. Fucking give you a tomato, boy. All right. Let me find my hearing protection because I ain't playing around with this part. Where the fuck is my damn earplug? This shit kind of live though with these mics. I just straight up be lurking around. Where am I? I'm hiding over here. I'm in the motherfucking corner, dog. Am I up in the sky? Am I down below? No, it's me. Where am I at? Oh, look there, up in the sky. Who is it? It's your boy. Where's this goddamn earplug at? I literally was just using it. Oh, it fell on the floor, covered in sawdust. Probably bugs that I can't even see. Oh well. Put that bitch straight in that ear. Get that bitch. Safety #1 priorities, boys. I almost forgot. I don't like how this channels though. So I'm gonna change to a different attachment that I got. Come on. Okay. Always unplug your tools when you're making big old changes like that. I got something new for it. Here we are. Boom, wire wheel. Here's a cheat code. These are my favorite things to carry, these Milwaukee fastbacks. Carry one with a hook blade for cutting shingles and one for cutting shit like this with a straight edge on it. Boy, you'll be the head of the construction job. Alright, let me find me something that I need. Come on, bitch. Motherfucker. Needs a little bit more. Come on, motherfucker. Come on. Oh, stupid son of a bitch. Sorry for my profanities, people. I'm in a hurry today. What the fuck? Okay, well, burning's done. I ain't messing with that no more. First, stain golden pecan. I ain't thinning it down with nothing. We're going straight out of the can on it. Okay, let's see. Dirty rag. One side of the rag will be golden pecan, the other side will be dark walnut. I can already tell I don't like the golden pecan. Pecan. How the fuck do you say that? Nope, ain't no way it's gonna be that light. Can't do that. Sawdust all up in my stain. That's how we roll. Okay. Get a lot up in that. Get it juicy as a motherfucker, boy. Get that bitch juicy. I'm liking this walnut. Ooh, that shit look crazy. For like $20 worth of material. And if I wasn't recording this, I could make like one of these in an hour. I could make like 5 of these in an hour, and I'm loving it. But that's crazy. Holy shit. So, now, I would have burned it a lot more, but the golden pecan looks like dog shit. But that fucking walnut, straight up looks like some actual like reclaimed wood. I just got to see if I can play with and find like some other color stains in here, and I'll fuck it all up. I'm going to check back with y'all whenever I get towards finishing the whole thing, distressing it, and then we'll check the progress. When your day is done and you wanna ride on cocaine. I thought this was pretty interesting. So this is basically coming along. There's the front of it. Looks very barnwood, rustic-esque. But for any of you who are these traditionalist shaker furniture only, or it's a piece of shit, these pocket hole screws are pretty fucking strong, my boy. Straight up beat the fuck out of it, and it ain't going nowhere, boy. All right, boys, I just got back from eating my lunch, and I was gonna sit here and mess with it. I still haven't attached this top, and I haven't figured out my drawer situation, because whenever you pull it out far enough, look what it does. So I haven't addressed that. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the design, with the way that technique that I saw, that rustic. I gotta let this stain dry, and like I said, this isn't one I'll probably keep this in the shop and throw files in it or something. This is more of just like a mock-up. Like, I'll probably use it for pictures. I got some mixture after the stain dries tomorrow. I got this mixture that I use. It's like some old-fashioned, just like linseed oil, polyurethane, and a little bit of paint thinner, like 50 in equal parts. And I'll rub that down on it 3 times or so, let it dry, rub another one, and it'll give it kind of almost like a sheen to it. One thing that I didn't do, because again, this isn't a finished one going out for anybody, and I didn't want to put the extra time into it, is I didn't like do the water trick, because it's got all these little fibers or whiskers, or normally you spray it with water. This is what they do on those like walnut slab tables. Spray it multiple times, let these fibers, because when the fibers in the wood get wet, they raise, and you keep sanding that down and sanding it down, and that's how you get like that almost like manufactured, not manufactured, but it's almost like just, I guess, yeah, it would be like that manufactured level polish to your product. But I didn't do any of that, and I just stained it with an old rag just because I wanted to really see how it came out. But overall, I'm really happy with how the depth of it is, everything. Certain of these sides really came out good, and it's all around just kind of fun sitting here playing with it, carving it out. I did the same thing with that other table, and I have a hard time letting them go. I like to just like make something for fun, then post it, see who wants to buy it, and if they want one, I'll make another one for them, because I don't know, I'm kind of just weird like that. But anyway, that was today's video. I'm going to go in there and practice painting. I might turn the camera on a little later, but it's doubtful. Tomorrow, I got to go in there and plan a good build for tomorrow. We might mess around with some metal. My grandpa ended up calling me back about these garage sales, and he found this guy who, those things at like the hospital that they put the infants in, apparently this guy bought out a hospital with like 100 of those made out of redwood, and the guy was selling them like they're literally like full-sized carts, medical carts with like redwood drawers and everything. Apparently and they were like 25 bucks a piece. So my grandpa bought them out, and I'll keep 2 of them. I might use one of them as like a welding cart, and then the other ones I'll just dismantle for the redwood out of them. Or I can't remember if he said redwood or red oak. It'd make more sense if it was red oak, because that's more easily obtained. But anyway, boys, I'll see y'all later on.